my pleasure. I may take it from you.
You can have it.
Just don't touch the cookies.
Already ate mine.
Linda, would you give us the invocation, please?
I'll be glad to. If you'll bow your head, I'll pray for us. Lord, we thank you for this day and thank you for this gathering of people who are loving or concerned about our district. I pray that you would be with us all as we do what we can to make a difference for our students. I pray, Lord, that you would be with us tonight as we look at the issues at hand, that we would have clarity of thought and understanding, and that we would make wise choices. And as always, Lord, that we would be agreeable even when we don't agree. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Go to the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. So do we have campus communications tonight?
We do. Mr. Whiteye, who's up?
First up is Barrow.
Barrow Elementary.
So we had our Adventure Dash Fun Run fundraiser right before we were out for our snow days. And it was the most fun fundraiser we have ever had, and the least work any of the staff members have ever had to put in. I never had to lift a finger. They did everything for us. Everything that went on, the bubbles, the slime, everything, all of their crew members did for us. Every student in the school got to participate in the dash. The bubbles, the slime, all of those were additional things for raising additional money. We did hit our $15,000 goal, which is huge for our school. So we exceeded that actually and almost met $20,000. We were at like $46 shy of $20,000, which is wonderful for Barrow Elementary. So we had a great time. So I just wanted to show you some pictures of that. We have teachers getting slimed, Miss Miller getting the human rainbow, and then them just having fun in the bubbles. And then they did get to slime me, but it was a video, so I didn't put it on here, for meeting their goal, and they got to dump a whole bucket of slime on top of me. So they had a great time. And then they sent in their pictures for their snow day. Some of them had never gotten the chance to play in snow before, so I just wanted to highlight some of their pictures. I'm so glad we came back to school on a 2-day week, because coming back on a Monday and having chaos for 5 days after that would have been crazy. So we had a fun 2 days getting to hear about all of their stories about playing in the snow, and it was a great time. And then after all of the snow and snow days and cold weather, I was just reminded how blessed we are, and I can't talk about her too much because I will start crying. Miss Glover is the best thing that could ever happen to any of the kids that go to Barrow Elementary. She is calm, she is a listening ear, she provides a trusted presence, and she just has a way of meeting every student's needs. She constantly advocates for anything they need. I'll just give you a few examples. One day, the first day it was cold, she came to me with a sticky note and said, so-and-so, 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 they didn't have a jacket. Is there a Walmart PO open so I can go to Walmart and get them a jacket? Like, this is 7:45 a.m. before the bells rang, and we know what they need so they can go home with the jacket that day. She told me 2 days ago, not 2 days ago, yesterday, it was one of our past students' birthdays, and she wanted to go see them at the junior high this week because she just wants to see their smiling face. And this is a student she hasn't seen in 2 years, but she remembers their birthday. Because that's what happens when you put down roots and invest your life in these students around here. If she were to tell me she was leaving, I could say with my whole heart I would trade salaries to keep her. So I just wanted to highlight her because she is literally a shining star at Barrow Elementary, and you don't walk in the building without seeing her or noticing the work that she does. So I am blessed to have her, and our community is blessed to have her.
Story. Thank you.
High school. All right, first couple slides, just boys and girls soccer, just kind of give an update. They started their season. Boys JV is 0-2. One of their games was canceled because of the snow. Varsity boys are 8-4, and they're 1-1 in district. The next slide is the girls. Their JV is 5-3 overall, 2-0 in district. The varsity is 5-4 overall and 2-0 in district. So we're starting off strong in district, both boys and girls. The next slide is our Johnson & Johnson slide. Lacey Johnson is our swim coach and Jeremy Johnson is our powerlifting coach. So that's our Johnson & Johnson slide. Jeremy Johnson wanted me to talk about both boys and girls. The girls powerlifting team has 11 young women that have qualified for regionals. Most of them are continually hitting personal bests in each competition. Currently, Braylee Shield in 12th grade and Riley Huckabee in 12th grade are 4th in their weight class, hoping to crack the top 2. Madison Smith, also senior, is 3rd in our region, and Sydney Lamb, a junior, is 2nd place regionally. So if she continues to hit those numbers, she will qualify for state. Our boys powerlifting team has 5 young men that have qualified for regionals. They're looking at a couple more next week. They are constantly hitting the weight room, getting better. We have 3 underclassmen who have qualified. They're Dominic Villegas is a freshman, Marshall Ellison is a sophomore, and Michael Keene is a sophomore. And then 2 upperclassmen, John Nichols is a junior, and Andrew Segovia is a senior. And we're hoping, like I said, to add some more to represent us at regionals. Swimming, this is Lacey Johnson's first year to do swimming, and she is beyond excited to share the news, is what she said. That we have a total of 11 events that we've qualified for regionals. 2 girls relays, 1 boys relay, and an impressive 8 individual events. Outstanding performances with a total of 4 first place finishes, 3 second place finishes, 1 third place finish, and 3 fourth place finishes. They have secured 2nd overall in district for the girls team, and as a whole team, boys and girls, they're 3rd. So it's quite an accomplishment for them. She's had Abby Mishk is first in 50 and 100 freestyle. Sophia Pena placed first in the 200 and 500 freestyle. Bailey Bauer placed 4th in 100 freestyle. Miley Gonzalez placed 4th in the 500 freestyle. And Luke Bauer placed 3rd in the 100 freestyle and 2nd in the 100 breaststroke. So they're going to regionals this Friday and Saturday. Then some academic stuff. We have our True to Life Ministries Level Up Expo, which was at Razosport College. It's a 1-day immersive career experience that was hosted by True to Life Ministries in collaboration with Razosport College. And they introduce students to local career opportunities and living wage career paths. And I'm going to let Ms. Halliday talk a little bit. She's the one that took the kids to this event.
Myself, Maurice Jones, and Melvin Miller took a group of students over there last Thursday, and
The day we got back after the
snow.
We had to
We
get
get back to
kids
school
up first
like,
thing in the
hey
morning.
guys, let's go.
Remember, we got a field trip.
Let's go, get on the bus. And we were able to kind of go as a group. It was really fun watching a group of kids that don't always spend a whole lot of time together or have classes together, get to spend that day together also getting to know each other. So that was an extra layer of fun in that. But there was one big session with True to Life, and then they broke the groups of students into 3 sessions. And so they went to, as our whole group together, went to a session where it was really talking about priorities and a knowledge check of next steps for their lives, and then how to research programs and apply to programs that are very hands-on, right? So, and then their next session was more of the hands-on. So things like being an operator, a network technician, auto tech, electrician, pharmacy tech. And so they actually did some hands-on things, and that's some of those photos there. And then they also were able to go on kind of a program tour. And so if they're interested in things that might be in a refinery or healthcare or electrical, they went and toured some of those classes. And so we split up with them and got to go tour that and do some more hands-on things with some of the professors and instructors for those programs. So they really got to know more about that and experience a little bit more.
Then we had a separate group. Chevron Phillips reached out and is sponsoring almost roughly 50 of our kids. What's called the MSTI Helper Orientation Program. They call it HOP. It's a hands-on class at ABC Construction. It's designed to give the students who are interested in a career in trades, in industry experience. They really wanted the kids that are interested in the BCPC Career Signing Day program to participate so they could get an experience of what it would be to be in that program. So we took this group of 18 kids Friday before the winter break that we had. And then we'll have a couple more groups going on Fridays. There's 3 different Fridays that they're hosting this. So they take the kids out, certifications if they have their state ID, and help prepare them to enter the workforce as well. So both these programs are geared towards our upperclassmen, mostly our seniors that are getting ready to enter the workforce, that aren't looking at college. They want to enter the industry right away. This looks to give them the certifications experience to make those decisions.
So is that volunteer? I mean, yeah.
We
How y'all do that?
we get an idea of which kids would fit what they're looking for, and then we ask the kids and offer the experience to them. They can turn it down, decline if they want to, but most of our kids are like, yeah, that sounds good. And so they really enjoyed it, had a great time. Like I said, they received certifications. We had about half of them didn't have their state ID, so they couldn't get it. But if we take the IDs back, we don't need the kids to go back with us. When they go back to the next one, we take the IDs, they've got the documentation, and they'll get it to them then. So we're getting those certifications in their hands. And then our last, yes, this is the last one. So we hosted a speech and debate tournament on our campus. Mr. German hosted that. We had 9 different schools for almost 100 students coming. So they did the Lincoln Douglas debate and policy debate through 2 rounds of oral interpretation and extemporaneous speaking. So we had some of our students, we had our alumni as judges. When we host the debate tournaments and speech tournaments, we can't participate because we're hosting and our alumni are the judges. And so it's, that way there's no discrepancies. At UIL, they have the right or wrong and you can go through the answer sheet, but this is more of a judging. And so our campus, our kids couldn't participate, but they helped run it and get ready for when they can be next.
Bill, thank you, sir. Junior high.
All right, so again, bouncing off of Vera, we had our, Ms. Silva posted a QR codes for parents to put in the pictures of what their roustabouts were doing in the snow, and we were thankful to have 172 pictures shared back with us. So we were able to see our kids in their environment enjoying the snow and bounce off of that when they came back and talk to them about their experiences. So that was good fun. We also, in communication, that was a focus this year. Our same class, Ms. Silva's class, is doing commercials for the yearbooks, and so you see in the top right-hand corner, Elise Conrad is participating in a commercial that they upload onto our page for their yearbooks, and they get to an opportunity to walk around campus and show different areas where the QR codes are listed, and they can give feedback and things like that. So. Also on the right, we have one of our students who was Mr. Weatherman on last week's Bout TV. It was a great one, so I wanted to shout him out. You can see a lot of personality in that. Every Friday we post our Bout TV, but they're starting to get a lot more creative and use different backdrops and different things technically and put their own spin on it. So the students plan what they're going to do, and then they produce it, and then they edit it, and so it's been a great thing. And as you see at the bottom, I kind of wanted to give you some update as to what we're looking at, or in the middle, sorry, with the reach that we're getting with our parents. We had 807 followers from West Columbia, 563 from Brazoria, 373 from Lake Jackson, 180 from Angleton, and 113 from Sweeney this week. So trying to get information out to parents has been a goal. Part of that I do think is part of the West Brazos market and getting the word out when we're open and those kind of things, but also when we have things posted like upcoming dances and report cards and parent nights. And so as we look down at the bottom, the 8th grade parent night was held on January 16th up here at CHS, and we had over 100 people in the audience learning about what they needed for scheduling for going to the high school, and it was very informational and opened up that conversation between our students and parents and the high school. Also sharing out those dates for upcoming things for transition timeline as we prepare them for going to the high school and what options they have. And then we will have our 5th grade parent meeting coming up next week. This morning we went to WCE and talked about what is a roustabout and the opportunities as 5th grade coming into 6th grade. And then we'll go to Barrow on Thursday. So planning for next year and making that connection. We brought back Roustabout Teacher of the Week, so I wanted to highlight Coach May was selected by students for our Roustabout Teacher of the Week, and then we have an 8th grader, Marquise Jimenez. We have Emily Hopkins and Ellie Wiley for the other 2 grade levels, so giving them a shout out. They really like that honor. If you notice in the yellow shirt and the, right before we left, we had CTE STEM Wars, and so that was good fun, where they tested their communication, teamwork, critical thinking skills, and they got a little bit competitive, so that was great. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, Miss Thompson's ESL class did projects on symbols that were important during the Christmas holidays for different cultures, and they had to create their emblem or their symbol or something tangible and present it to the class. So they put in a lot of effort on those things. And then our final slide, we hosted a Grinchmas family night for the first time at West Brazos Junior High, where we opened up the doors and had snacks and movies and a backdrop, and there was great participation. Families came out, and it was a safe, warm place to be with good snacks and family time. So we're looking forward to adding those things in the future and continuing to do that, where they can come in and spend time with their family and make memories. So.
Thank you. Ms. Howard.
Hey, hi guys. We're going to start out with our Wildcatter buddies. They serve in life skills, and we want to give a shout out to Miss Medway, who asked for our buddies to happen. These are 4th and 5th graders, and they go down to the life skills class and they help there, and it is now becoming their favorite part of the day. And they're actually telling people that it's time for them to go when it's really not time for them to go. But they're trying, and you know what? What a great thing to be doing, okay? It really is. They love it. And then thanks to Barrow, we have started our own Robo-Catters, and we want to thank Barrow and Miss Coolemans for all the help. We now have a group that is started with 30 kids. It is being hosted by Miss Bailey, Miss Sanders, and Miss Roddy. And they've already had 1 or 2 meetings, so we're real excited, and we thank Barrow for helping us with that, okay? So we're getting it going, all right? And then last but not least, we had 5th grade band recruitment, and what an exciting time. It was so cool to see the band come through with their instruments, to see faces that used to be at our school that are now in the band, and then for them to play for the kids and to inspire them to be members of the band as well. Okay? Thank y'all.
And that leaves Kohi.
All right, so one of the things that we are working on right now, our students are learning about hibernation and what it means to hibernate, what animals hibernate, and it's something the entire school takes part in. And so teachers have created a space in their classroom for caves. So it could be anything they wanted it to be. So one teacher has the teepee, and then the other teacher, there are animals in there. Yesterday, the students were able to bring I call them snugglies, snuggly from home, and they are going to spend the week in their cave in the classroom and hibernate at Wild Peach Elementary through the week. And so we encourage them to bring one snuggly and one that they did not mind keeping at the school the entire time, so not to bring their favorite one. I told them, I do not want you to bring one that your mom's going to call me at 9 o'clock to come and get in the school to get. So it needs to be one that you don't mind spending the night. So that's just a few of the things that are happening. And then pre-K will culminate the whole activity with a teddy bear picnic on Friday. So their teddy bears or snugglies will come out of the caves, and they will enjoy a picnic, which is snack time with their class. So after our board meeting, but before Christmas break, we had our reindeer dash. Our reindeer dash is something that Coach Nell and Ms. Chino, she's linked by the yellow cone, do a great job getting our kids prepared for. So it's kind of like a fun run, like the older kids, older schools participate in. Our students, they have iPads that are connected to those cones, and the students have those QR codes that when they run a lap, they have been taught to scan their QR code, and it tracks their laps. And so then at the end of it, Coach Nell and Ms. Chino are able to run a report of who completed the most laps boy and girl for every grade level, and they received a large jingle bell to go with a Jingle Bell or Fun Run. So that was our reindeer dash. And then one of the things we have started doing is we have started our Caught Being Awesome at Wild Peach. So we have done a lot to change the culture of our students and just the expectations. And for some of our students, it's easier than others, but we definitely want to acknowledge our students who are following what the expectations are and who are caught by adults doing what they're supposed to do during different times of the day. So the two pictures you see are the middle and the one on the right are students who were caught doing something well. And on Fridays, Miss Hogan goes around with her, we haven't given it a snazzy name yet, but she has a little cart she goes around with, and the students are able to pick a prize out of her box that she has. And then, of course, always have to include something from Mr. Raymond. Mr. Raymond and his STEM class, they just worked out the timing, the effects of salt and ice. And so they were able to move right into that last week when we came back. So it just worked out great. The kids loved it. Some of them, before their ice started melting, were able to make necklaces with ice cubes hanging. So some great things happening at Wild Peach.
Yeah, thank you. Good deal. Any citizens be heard, stand up?
No, sir.
Okay. Go to reports. First one, maintenance.
All right, Mr. Williams.
All right. Well, over the past couple of meetings, we've talked about roofs specifically, and because of that, I have brought in Mr. James Roberts from the Garland Group, who has, oddly enough, cold called me one day at the office, just introduced himself, and I thought, okay, here goes another damn salesman. But I humored him, and the more that I talked to him, the more I realized that this guy knows a lot more about roofing systems that I didn't, and so I started leaning on him to kind of educate myself so that I could keep this district in as best shape as I possibly can. And so with that, with that introduction and him teaching me the things that I've needed to know, and of course a lot yet to learn, I was able to procure the new roof for the high school on this new project through the Garland Group, which gives us that 30-year warranty, so that none of us are going to have to worry about that. And specifically on their customer service, how they, as the application goes on, they're 3 or 4 times a week walking the roof to make sure that the installer's doing it right, to the dedication to the coming back routinely following to make sure there's no degradation, any type of maintenance things that could be coming up. They're routinely coming and walking the roofs, spotting, hey, look, we need to address this. This is going to cause problems, etc. So with that, I've had Mr. Roberts come in, and we did all the surveying, the samples, the infrared scans to determine specifically West Columbia Elementary and West Brazos Junior High, since those are our worst shaped roofs, to start discussing options there for new roofs, recovers, whatever the case may be. And so with that being said, I'm going to let Mr. Roberts take control of this and kind of lead you through this little PowerPoint that we put together.
Thank you. That was a heck of an introduction. I appreciate that. James Roberts, good to meet you all. You can go to the first slide. So the first school we're going to talk about is West Columbia Elementary. It's about 96,000 square feet. Our objective here is to recover the deteriorated roof with a durable, long-lasting solution. The reason I don't say re-roof there is because a re-roof adds about $7 to $10 extra square foot. To recover something, you have to do some structural analysis. You have to do some infrared scans. So we brought a drone in and did an infrared scan over a couple nights at both this school and West Brazos Junior High. And then we had a structural engineer come in and look at all the decks and make sure that it can handle the weight of an extra roof. So great news is that both of those passed. So that's saving you a significant amount of money. Next slide, please. This is at West Columbia. You can see how the deterioration of the metal has happened. Ponding water is happening up here. This is at the, what do we call that, skylight? Sundial area. And then the sealants around the building, which are your air and water vapor barriers to protect the wall cavity. All of those are about 20 years old. This is well beyond, you can tell its life cycle there by the amount of alligatoring that's happening there. Next slide, please. More issues that have occurred. You've got some dislodged panels from high wind events that have happened over the course of the life of the roof that need to be replaced. And then just more problems. The next slide is going to show you some of our drone footage. So this is the same picture as this, just a little bit more zoomed in. This here that you're seeing is a hot spot at the wall. The reason that happens is because the moisture in the roof retains heat quicker than things that are dry. And so you can see down here at the wall, you're not having any leaks yet, but you do have a significant amount of moisture that's happening here in the roof. You'll see a larger section at the Brazos one. And then this is your actual roof membrane. You can see how it's pulling and pulling apart and shredding. That's just wear and tear over time. This was a 20-year roof. It's exceeded, or right at its service warranty life, but it's just past its serviceable life before a significant amount of money needs to be spent because it'll be out of warranty. So that's the elementary school. West Brazos Junior High, same everything passed here for the infrared scan and the structural analysis from our structural engineer. Next slide, please. Same thing here. You're seeing there's holes in the gutters. The metal is deteriorated at the base flashings. This is generally speaking, the most sensitive part of the roof. In the field of the roof, where there's not any penetration, we'll call it the flat part, that is the least amount of places where you'll see leaks. But at the base flashings, where this metal is protecting, that's the most vulnerable part, along with the perimeter edge. So these are ready. Now, one thing I will note, when you do a re-roof, you have to bring it up to code, to the existing code, which means you have to raise it. So that adds $7 to $10 does not include, you can tell we would have to increase the height of the roof. That does not include those windows. So those, if we had to do a re-roof, those windows would have to be taken out, new. So the recover really does save quite a bit. But not every roof is a candidate for that, but these are. Next slide, please. Here's at the perimeter edge, you can see that the membrane is actually pulling away from the side of the roof. This is also where you get a lot of leaks, more gutter damage, and then this is just an overview of the back side of the junior high. Next slide, please. And then I told you we had another picture from the junior high. So here's the one where at night, but you can see the amount of moisture that's here in these locations. So when you do a recover, the contractor actually will go in and he'll remove the wet part of the roof here, put back new, and then make it level with the actual new part of the roof. And then here is this is at the perimeter edge. You can see the membrane's actually peeling up from the side because it's past its life. Next slide, please. So these are at 20 plus years, exceeding a serviceable life as well as warranty. You've got visible signs of deterioration at the metal edges, holes in the membranes we showed you, ongoing leaks leading to interior damage. That's just, they're due. Next slide, please. So we're looking at probably about $28 per square foot. This is what the budgets we're at. So you got 96,000 square feet, so about $2.6 to $2.7 million per school. So it's a significant investment. Completed comprehensive infrared scans with drones and structural assessments with structural engineers. So we're looking at saving about $7 to $10 per square foot versus could do a complete tear off. But you're really saying it's a great investment. This high school here is not going to be touched for 30 years. Same thing with these schools, reduced maintenance costs, extended lifespan of the building. We're going to include in the bid proposal a 40-year option for this. It'll just be an alternate for the board to consider. And then funding mechanisms, talking with the district and your leadership, Choice and TIPS are both vehicles that have used in the past. We're big fans of them because the bar for the roofers who are to participate in those is very high. They have to have a good, clean record, financially stable, all of those things. So, those are some notes.
What's choice and tips?
Those are cooperative purchasing programs. Yeah, exactly. It's a buy.
So you don't install the roofs? We're going through somebody else to?
That's right. I'm the roofing manufacturer and engineering firm. So I'll write the specs, do the drawings, then I'll come back to the board. Hey, these are the contractors who bid on this. This will happen in about a month is what I'm anticipating.
So how does your process work as when you say a recover?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean?
Okay. So you first have to prepare the existing roof. We're not going to tear that off all the way to the deck. So normally you would take all of that off if you were re-roofing and then put all back new. What we're doing is saving that amount of money by leaving that in place. You have to have the structural engineer look at it, make sure it's acceptable. It's also accessible, everything's done by code, energy standards, all of that. Then what will happen is we'll take a cover board and insulation, so about an inch of insulation and a 1/2 inch cover board will go directly on the roof that's there now. Then we'll mechanically fasten that to the existing deck. After that, you'll either buy hot asphalt or porch, apply 2 new layers of roofing membrane that are high performance and will give you that 30-year solution, and then you're done. So normally, a
So
contractor.
is that basically you're putting a roof like we have on top? A new roof like we have on top of the roof we have?
Yes, sir, that's it.
Okay.
That's why it's called a recover rather than a re-roof.
And when you get through it, that's windstorm insurable and
Everything's
certification for that?
Absolutely. TDI, we'll have a TDI windstorm engineer. He'll have to make site observations throughout this process. It's up to energy codes, existing building codes, all of those things.
So when he was showing the junior high, Justin, when we built the 6th grade wing, we looked at the junior high because there was some metal that was rusting and stuff like that. What did we replace at that time when he's showing all this rusted stuff that's there
All
now?
around the front, from the building, from the cafeteria area, all the way down across all those pods, down to the side where the new 6th grade is. That didn't cover any of the upper, on the upper level roof, down that main hallway, it didn't cover any of those gutters. And then, of course, that section across the back over to where we just built that new locker room, 8 years ago, whatever that was.
So most of that is the flashing.
Yeah, and the flashing was, they didn't touch that, they just replaced the gutter.
We just did the gutters, not flashing.
Correct.
So is this a TPO style roof or is it?
This is a 2-ply modified bitumen roof.
Okay.
So TPO roof will give you about 15 to 20 years down here in our climate, especially on the windstorm, in the windstorm area. So we're giving the district a 2-ply modified system, which is asphalt based. So, and it has some modifiers in it that really, in the thickness of it and the scrim that's used is a higher.
Do you have a brochure or anything on that? You could.
Yes, absolutely.
Justin, if you get time, you shoot that over to me. Sure.
So you said that's a 30-year?
Yes, sir. Minimum 30 years.
So on the next round, if there is a next round, what does it take to get your cover off and the other existing roof that you're covering? What is that gonna
Building
look like?
code allows you to recover one time.
Yeah.
So actually, the strict reading of the code says you can have two different roof layers. So even a coating is technically a third roof. So you'd have to tear it off at that point.
The original and your,
That's right. That's right.
you know anything about like what the cost of that might be? I know it's a long ways down the road, but.
Yeah. So if you adjust for inflation, who knows? I mean,
Yeah, I'm just saying
in the
that,
last 4 years.
have you had to do that before tearing those layers off?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, sir. Yep. Yeah, to be a wise steward of the public's money, which is something that I help with, you want to use the options that you have, like a recover, but sometimes that's not an option. Like if we would have looked at the infrared scan and there's moisture all through this roof, I'd be standing here before you and said, you're not going to spend 28, you're spending $35 to $38 a square foot.
What decking is that? We have.
You have metal decking here.
Okay.
And then you also have over the gym, you have Tectum. So it's a Tectum decking. So it's those are your two. Did that answer your question?
So you're the manufacturer?
Yes, sir.
How long y'all been in business?
127 years. Yeah, 127 years.
Galveston has used some of their roofs in there 40 years and still holding.
Galveston, what now?
Galveston ISD has been using our roofs and they're still, we've got 35, 36-year-old roofs on those buildings still.
Okay.
With that being said, our plan is to try to get those big packages together so that we can bring back next month for your review, and then try to get some traction on it from there.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Timeline as far as you start the project.
Great question. So, March is when I work with people like Justin, March is always a critical time to make a decision because the best roofers are lining up their summer work. So March, we would hopefully have everything approved, have our pre-construction, materials are on site, and have a slot in the parking lot before school gets out the last day. Then the roofers go to work the next day. And then generally they can do, with a re-roof, they can do about 1,200 square feet a day to 1,500 square feet. They'll be doing, 3,000 to 4,000. So they're gonna cook, it will be done by August.
So in this kind of situation, I would assume there's no disruption to the inside of the building.
There will be no disruption whatsoever, no sir.
So you say it's a 30-year warranty?
Yes, sir.
Let's say we have a named storm come through with no damage
Okay,
to the roof. Is the roof still covered?
absolutely.
Okay.
All those roofs in Galveston and Angleton and other coastal counties, there's no question. If we have damage, then we're gonna,
Right.
then we've stepped up, but.
There's a lot of roofing manufacturers that once a named storm comes through, the warranties.
We're not one of them, and that's why I'm standing before you.
That's good to know.
So you put roofs in Angleton also?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we work down over there on that district with Jose Macedo. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate the presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and carry on with maintenance report. The Wild Peaks water well, I regret to inform you that there's some type of communication breakdown between myself and the engineer when he submitted to the state for approval. There was he assumed that we were using a lot of the existing equipment that was still there, the tanks. There was no provisions for electrical, the building to house the chlorine pumps and all that. And so that was excluded. And so when I sent it out, I had a lot of phone calls. Hey, this is an incomplete package. What are you gonna do for this? So we've had to restart on that. He's finished that up, gonna get that sent off to the state real quick and try to get a quick turnaround on that so that we can kind of pick the ball back up and get running with it. So that's kind of got punted for a little bit. Lastly, the E3 project, we're still going through we haven't got the official, we're clear and good to go from the third-party engineer, but just a word of mouth, yes, we're gonna be good to go. So everything is passed on that, and we're putting together a schedule and all that stuff started, timeline for start to finish. So we're just waiting for the official document from that third-party engineer to prove to SECO that, hey, this is gonna do what it says it's gonna do. And I think that's all I have for you, unless you have something specific.
Tell them about the tallest wood fence in Missouri.
Yeah,
It looks nice. I drove by it today.
Yeah, we've got that. As a matter of fact, we've already started painting on it. The only thing left, I don't know if you've been by Sweeney's, they have those large 45-degree gussets that come down from the peak down on the ground for just structural support. That is fixing to take place, but otherwise it's finished and we're painting now. So we get it dried up enough that we can get that heavy lift out there without rutting the film up, and we get the inside painted real quick so that it's sort of good to go.
Good. It looks very, very nice.
It was a tough road to hoe, I promise.
Good deal.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you, Justin.
James, thanks for making the drive.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for having me. See you in a month.
Safety security report. So I have a special treat for you this month. I have a special guest that's going to present to you. So Chief Sanders. I got to come up to the front now. He's going to talk to you about something he knows a lot more about than I do. So I'm going to set this right here.
Got a couple things there to go over first. Yeah, I've got stats for last month. In your file, we had three reports, no arrests. Every January, I have to submit a racial profiling report to the state. Our district, my department, we file exemption, but I still have to notify the board of our status, whether it's the sheriff to your commissioners or the police chief to the city council. But we file exempt each year because traffic enforcement is not a primary function of our duties. But just notifying y'all to let y'all know about that. So the state TCO come out with 4 pages of to-do list that every law enforcement agency in Texas has to comply with. And these have to be done by September 1st. Checked off all the boxes, but there's 2 of them that we're not in compliance with right now. One of them meet with Josh tomorrow, has to do with IT issues. We have to have, for the public, can file a complaint or recommend or an attaboy for an officer or how to contact the police. We have to put that on the web page. So I've talked to Josh because in the process of building the web page.
The only thing we haven't done is the complaint.
Yeah, I got to put the complaint form in there. Or if they want to do an attaboy, it has to be on there. And also about how to contact the police, it has to be in there. Another thing that that's one of the other 2. The other one is the less than lethal weapon, which our department, we don't have. Most of your agencies and your school districts are going to the Verna. There's nothing in it, so I'm gonna take it out and let y'all look at it. Don't drop the ball here.
You did that on purpose.
He won't. Where's the other one?
Doing good, Doug. Doing good.
No worries.
You got one? You got one? Pass that around. No.
What's the difference on that? Yeah.
Here's the seal cartridge. Oh, wait, so you already know. Here's seal cartridge that goes in. There's not much to it.
So is that supposed to stop somebody if you shoot them with it?
So what this does is,
Or Mr. Miller volunteered for a demonstration.
So there's a lot, there's not much to them. So it's a less than lethal weapon that says they're mandated. Between the options between this and a taser, I'd like to start with these.
I did that. I apologize. I was trying to help
I just want to see how it works.
I was just trying to help.
So each officer will have to carry them. Has to carry on their person with their own duty. And so the purpose of it is on your use of force continuum. You got your verbal, you got your hands physical, and we go straight from hands to deadly force, which we don't have in between. What the state's saying, you need to have in between, which most of your agencies, your law enforcement agencies all carry, either these or the tasers. So with that said, the purpose of them is, if you got a kid that's threatening somebody or deadly injury, or you can use this instead of using your weapon. An example, a local school district, a kid had a pair of scissors, threatened to kill himself, and he wouldn't listen to the compliance of the teacher, called the administrator in. They brought the officer in, gave him a warning, put the scissors down, I'm gonna shoot you. He pulled out the, I'm gonna discharge this. When the kid saw this and freaked out, dropped the scissors, because he didn't know what this was. And that was the purpose of it, instead of having to use deadly force. The price of each one is like $560.
There's a price sheet, there's a.
You see the total price on there is like $6,700 for 12 of them. I mean, that's the short, long story short.
So you're gonna carry 2 pistol size?
Yeah, well, this is they got 2 versions. They got the SD and the LE. The LE is bulkier than this. And this will go on this side here because it's cross-draw.
Right.
So you will continue carrying your regular weapon?
Yes, yes. And this will be a cross-draw. I got one left-hander Borak, which would be on his right side.
And that's kind of the other districts are going that route versus Taser?
Yeah. Sweeney has these, Damon ISD has these, Brassport ISD has these. Angleton ISD and Danbury in the process of going to them. I think, in my opinion, this is your safest bet in a school setting, in my opinion. Taser.
I guess the law enforcement that are using tasers, that still gets reported to Austin and everything, just as if it was a regular officer deploying his taser?
And there will be, and before everybody gets one, they will be trained. There will be a policy in effect. Once we get everybody trained, we pass them out, there will be a policy on the use of force. This will just be implemented into the use of force policy. I mean, I know none of these, I don't know a whole lot about them. I mean, anybody been sprayed with CS or CN gas? It gets your attention real quick. It's real effective.
So I'll chime in and help Doug out on it. So is there anyone in here with a small canister of pepper spray? All right, so if anyone in here has a small canister of pepper spray, let me see the burner. So this device is not considered a handgun. What it is, it's called a launcher. If I held in my hand a canister of pepper spray, they're the same thing. It's just the method in which you disperse what's inside the canister and what's inside here. So what's great about this, you can spray someone with a canister of pepper spray and spray everybody here in the room, which is, we don't even really use that anymore. What this does, it does 2 things. It shoots a .68 caliber pepper ball round that has the same amount of capsule in it, which is OC spray, in one of those little capsules as you would have in a pepper spray can and pepper spray someone. What's great about this, and it defeats the taser actually, because a taser only works within 15 to 21 feet. If you make great connection with someone. So if you had on a bulky jacket, you can defeat the taser. You have to have great shot placement in order for it to work. And it works with 2 prongs. If one prong is a positive, one's a negative. If either one, if you don't have connection with both until that pierces the skin, the taser doesn't work. All right, so one of the other drawbacks about a taser is you have to be within 15 to 21 feet. Doesn't really work. It's been proven that someone with a knife or a baseball bat who's within 21 feet of you can basically attack you before you can get your handgun out of your holster. It's been proven, documented video. What's great about this, the distance on this basically is 60 feet. You still can operate it at 100 feet. So let's say we walked in, we had someone in the back of the room. Time and distance is what we're trying to do as far as law enforcement. We don't want to get close to that particular person. We want to back away from them. It gives us some time. It gives us, as a law enforcement officer, it gives us some time to de-escalate, go through the procedure of talking to someone, if you have to use it. So let's say that person's in the back of the room and he's still starting to walk toward you, you still got 60 feet. You can continue to back up if you want to, if you choose to, but it is an effective tool. When it disperses, when you actually use it, it does two things. When you shoot it, it hits the subject with kinetic energy, which introduces pain, and the projectile burst, and at that point, it disperses about 5 grams of OC powder. It hurts, it stings. However, there is another round that goes in this gun. It's called a kinetic round. If you do not want to use a pepper round, you can use a kinetic round, which is basically, it's pain compliant. We don't, there's certain protocols where you do not shoot in certain areas of the body. We don't shoot in the head or the groin area with this. So it's mainly meant for extremities and things like that. So you can still back away from somebody. It's a great tool to use. Our department hasn't gone to it, but I've used it before. I've actually gotten shot with it, and it's a very effective tool.
Another good thing about it, say if I shoot it and miss him and hits the wall, still gonna get the same effect because it's gonna explode. It's gonna kick out a cloud about 3 feet of cloud. He's still gonna get affected by it. It's gonna burn his eyes. It's gonna get us in his inside. Yeah, and after about, and if we do use it, you give him to the doctor, to the nurse, wash your face off. After about 15 seconds, the gas starts to wear off. But by the time you have the person, if you have to use it, under control.
You would use the same protocol as you, if you had an OC can and you spray someone, you still, you administer like first aid, rinse eyes for the subject, things like that.
Are you familiar with that brand or that?
Yes.
This is the only one. It's a patent. It's been in business since 2005. The place here, the dealer down here is in Pearland, and they gave us the price. Can guarantee you, if we need to wait till after the budget year. I'm thinking with the mandate from the school, the price from all law enforcement agencies have to go to less than lethal. If they start going to these, I think the price is going to go up. But that's my opinion. But that's up to y'all.
So what campuses would you put these at? All of them?
Every office. Every office.
Every office.
Not campus. It's every office.
So we have an officer at every campus.
Right.
So,
But every,
to your question, there would be one on every campus.
but every officer has to carry them. Has to have one. And there's all kinds of other stuff. It's mind-boggling what they sit around up there in Austin and say, you got to do all this. Just insane. But like I said, other than these, the less than lethal and the portal. That's the only two that we're not compliant. We're not in compliance yet. And I signed off for it. We are in the process, and we will have it done by September 1st.
What's the portal?
Just the online.
The online.
If you go to the CBISD police page, there has to be you have to have the ability to file a complaint.
Right. Oh, so you're talking about a while ago.
That's
Yeah.
That's what I'm
I thought it was something different.
No, I'm supposed to have get with Josh. I'm going to meet with him
That'd be
tomorrow.
solved.
So we got to have.
Very different.
It's just an online form they can fill out.
Yeah.
That's got to be taken care of, which is, Josh has it pretty much simple.
We've already have it for bullying and reporting, so.
I mean, theoretically, we bought these now whenever the legislature passes the education, and you're talking about quite a bit of money for safety, we can just reimburse that off of that, right? I mean, it's qualified purchase.
The life of those changed.
Oh, which one?
They last for pretty good, I mean,
There's 1 year warranty on it, but there's not much to them.
Yeah.
Hardly anything to it, yeah.
And then what, every year you replace the CO2 cartridge?
Well, no. So the CO2 cartridges stay in here.
Oh, it
Until you shoot it, it doesn't
pierce it,
activate
right?
it.
Yep.
It doesn't pierce it, so it can stay on forever. Now, once you pierce it, you're going to also want to change it out. And that's part of the workup that you see. There's extra ones per officer carry, plus training ones that they have to use for the qualification part.
How many little, of those little holes?
There's five per magazine. If you got to shoot more than that, then you got a problem.
So you switch them up.
Yeah, now we're going to lethal weapons.
Yeah, we got.
Anything else?
Thanks, sir.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think administration ought to get them ordered and get it taken care of. Don't wait till September or whatever. I agree, whenever the state passes the education budget, it's requiring these things, they will go up in price, there's no doubt about it.
What's the lead time, did they tell you, James, lead time on this?
The what's that?
Lead time, time you order, time you get it?
So, well, these are Constable Bronner's, they let me borrow one. They don't make the yellows, this will be orange. He said probably about 2-3 week turnaround.
Oh, good.
They got them in stock, and he's on the email, he says he's got the orange ones in stock.
You know the guy you purchased them from, or
Sorry?
you know the organization or guys purchasing it from it?
Yeah, I used to train for them.
Okay. Reputable guy then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And one guy in the county that does training right now, and he works for Angleton ISD.
Sounds good, Doug.
Show and tell, man, show and tell.
So when we get ours in, I do want to use him as a guinea pig. Let's see if they work and they stop it.
Take this bear down.
I bet it will, I guarantee you.
That's all safety and security?
We have a safety and security committee meeting tomorrow. It was canceled because of the snow. Doug was scared to get out in the snow. We moved it to this Wednesday, 4 o'clock tomorrow. If you would like to be here, we would love to have you.
Doug, radios, all good? On those radios we bought a while back? Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. Instructional update?
All right, if you'll look in your room folder, you have paperclip copy. That's it. So the front page is the data from this year. If you look down the left side margin, you'll see starting at the high school with English 2, then testing 3 through 8, and then of course the elementary schools. And you can see we have it by school and by grade level across the district. Next column over, where it says goal R1, that was the goal for the first release test. The next column is the actual score from the release test, where it says number 1. So you can compare what their goal was to how they did on the test. The next column is goal R2. That will be for the release test they take depending upon grade level, either late February or early March. You can see they've already got their goal there. The next 3 columns are just past score data for that specific grade level or test in 22, 23, 24. Then you can see they already have their goal for the STAR for this spring, the 2025. And of course, the last 2 columns will get filled in after we get results back. The STAR 2025 will be scores for CBISD, and of course, we always put the state score there so we can compare that. If you do look, the next page back, that's the completed document from last year if you wanted to compare this school year to last school year from, the whole process kind of gives you an example.
So for goal R2s, those were established after y'all found the results from the other?
Yes, sir. Sam, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Does any of the round 1 concern anybody? Or thoughts? I mean, just briefly looking through, it looks like maybe 4 or 5. The actuals, lower than goal, but several of them, exceeded. So I didn't know what y'all's thoughts were on that.
Well, West Columbia's 5th grade reading, their score was 83, 48, 17, but then their next goal is 80. When your goal is lower than your score.
My goals were set before because of the grant.
That's true, yeah.
So,
I figured that when I saw that.
Our biology.
You know what, you see what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Our biology and history is kind of in the same boat. Because our teachers didn't expect them to do so well on that first one, and they want to make sure that they're growing the meets and masters and not raising the approaches up. But maintaining that, they want to build on that, yes.
Sure.
But they think, well, that might be a pie in the sky dream, let's see.
Right.
And it's maintaining, that's an older test, the next test is a newer test, and it's a little more difficult.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we prefer realistic.
yeah, for sure.
We've done it the other way and we weren't impressed.
And honestly, like, especially in reading, those scores for December, only being halfway through the content, they're pretty high already. You know, you gotta be kind of realistic about where you are already. What do? Shoot for 90? We've never scored that high before. We have to bring ourselves back down to earth. Of course, we want to be there, but let's set an attainable goal.
Well, hopefully we at least maintain for the ones that are higher.
So the goal for Start 2025 is goals y'all have already established. That's what we started in the beginning of the year, hoping and then working towards getting to that goal? Okay. Questions or comments?
Okay. Next thing I have for you, also there is a copy of a draft copy of a 25-26 school year instructional calendar in your room folder. Long story short, it's the same calendars this year, so just move forward. So if you want to take a look at that and see anything, let us know. We'll be bringing this back to you next month. So I've already asked all the campuses and departments to share it and get any feedback that they might have.
Just out of curiosity, so is it Sweeney, or is there's a couple of districts that they stay out a lot longer in January until they come back, is that right?
Most everybody is consistent with this.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Now, when it falls like that, you get that extra weekend in January.
Okay.
Most everybody's pretty consistent. It might be a day or two.
Okay.
The biggest things you'll see, the differences will be that week of October 13th, 14th. That fair time, that's the biggest difference you'll see. We like taking the Monday and Tuesday because we have a lot of activities on Fridays, right? And in the past, years ago, when we used to take the Friday off, there's a lot of kids at the fair, but there's more kids involved on that Friday activity, especially when it's an out-of-town game and things like that. So you'll see us a little different. Some schools have kind of gone to a week during that time. Keep in mind our calendar, if you look down at the bottom, you see it's 173 school days times 460 minutes. Technically, we have just a little over 8 days of school in the bank. A lot of schools, when they do their calendar, they do 75,600, which is the requirement, which means if they're out a snow day, they got to find a bad weather day to make up. And we just kind of put extra time in ours, so when we have to miss, we don't have to. We don't have to play that ball game.
So that's probably where they're, if they have more days, that's why, because they have less.
So you'll see, I think, but and at the same time, if, in my opinion, if working on our scores, it's hard to work on them if you're not in school, right? So we go to school a little bit more than most others.
It's probably the last 6 years, probably we've used 3 or 4 of our extra days. I mean, we've used some for something.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's paid off. A long time ago, we used to have to file
waiver,
whatever, because we went to minutes and did it differently.
So you had to do something this past snow day too, didn't you?
No, we don't have to make it up.
You don't have to make it up because you got the extra days?
Correct, the minutes, and it goes by the minutes.
I got you, okay.
Yeah, so we're good.
They used to go by teaching days, and then they changed it to minutes. When they changed to minutes is whenever It's helped us a lot.
This time we'll burn our minutes, letting everybody off early or something, we've done that before, so.
But, when you have a calendar like that, it makes it a little bit easier for making decisions too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So look that over, see if you have any thoughts there. Next thing, you have a staple packet that has the December enrollment and attendance on it.
Thank you.
You bet. And so just to give you, as you can see, if you go all the way down to the bottom, you can see at this time, or at the end of December, last year we had 2,945 students. This year, 2,841, so we're down 104 kids. Look all the way across, you can see our attendance is a little better this year. But again, we're going to talk budget-wise and things. That's something we've got to pay attention to, that the number's down a little bit. So, as you can see, if you go down the right-hand column, you can, we talked about, at budget time, we talked about we were going to mandate a 93% attendance at all campuses. You can see we've got 2 campuses that are pulling it, and we got 3 that are not. So we've had specific conversations with those campuses. So, but they also know that if they don't carry the 93, that there's budget money that doesn't come their way, because that means they're not earning what we've expected them to. So. Just to give you an idea, the second page is the report from September. So if you want to look at back to September, quote, the beginning of school, the first full month of school, you can kind of see the difference.
So are you seeing like say Wild Beach Elementary, for instance? That still was the lowest back in September. Is it like the pre-K and the younger kids that just the parents are like, we'll just keep them at home?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the biggest things you've seen since COVID. If there's a chance somebody else is sick, it's just it's not important. And that's why when you hear funding schools on enrollment, right? Because whatever number we look at, whether they're coming to school or not, we have to hire teachers based on that number. So you do everything based on that number. And then, when kids are out, we actually spend man hours
trying to get them in,
making contact or, lessons or, whatever that involves. And so there is a conversation piece about enrollment. And so, as you can see, Chris and I were in Austin for our midwinter conference, sitting through the legislative budget meeting we sat through yesterday. It's coming. I think the Senate Education Committee actually met today.
They met today.
And there was even talk that the Senate Education Committee might actually vote it out. This was called Senate Bill 2, actually voted out. And now it's, now you're just waiting on the House and Conference Committee and all that, but that's pretty quick. So it seems like it's moving. Funding enrollment is part of that. One of the thoughts that, talking with Cody Basu, was, well, what if we just said everybody had like 95% attendance, right? We just said, what is that? You just, 95%, we're gonna fund you on that. So, because what happens here is, the state knows that they don't have to pay, and so every year there's a wad of cash that never gets dispersed because.
Well, it's a moving number. It's never a set number.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's a game to all this, right?
It's way easier if they give us a set number.
The funny thing about it is, when it comes to attendance and all that, there's probably 499 little rules that are in place because of this. If you just went to funding for enrollment, those 499 little things just go away. And the efficiency would just all of a sudden get like that.
So the kids at JJAEP, do we count them?
No.
They don't.
When a kid goes to JJAEP, they actually get withdrawn from us and enrolled in Angleton, and so they earn the ADA.
So.
3 of them are back.
Do what?
3 of those kids are now back in school.
3 or what?
3 of the kids in JJAP are back.
Oh, back in school.
Yes, they're back here now.
We only have
But
a
how
total
many
of
are
4 there. I mean, at one time we had 4, and now we have 1 there.
Well, we have more than that have been in our DAPs on campus.
Right,
And so, yeah, we were still here, and so we still get.
But we still count them.
Correct.
But Peach is not our problem. There's only 4 kids different in there. I mean, those are the littles y'all were talking about.
Right.
The bigs are.
Only 4 down, but they're showing up less times.
Right.
The percentage.
Yeah.
Which hurts that calculation.
Percent, yeah.
So the 75 and the 104, the difference
I
between
mean,
from September to
attendance.
December, the 75, is that like withdrawals?
Yes. Or move, yes,
Move.
yes. So, the answer to that would be yes.
There's no opportunity for them to show, right? So 104 kids represents a lot of money. How
Yep.
much? Like a million?
So the average, by the time you run it through, Julie, it's the average dependent upon what the art's gonna be, anywhere from 10,000 to 11,000 a kid.
That's $1 million.
Yeah.
Well, you should have something that shows you the difference we had.
Oh, we'll do that in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
we're coming to that, yeah.
I'm just
So the answer is, yeah, when it comes to our budget, we've, you know, we did conservative, but now that number's kind of fallen to where we were conservative, and so we've got to, you know, what can we do? One of the things that, you know, Mr. Crust asked was, okay, let's talk about some things, what we can do. And so we're gonna discuss some of those with you in a little bit, but, you know, the first one is, kids gotta come to school, you know, and just, everybody's like, I just want your money. Well, yeah, it's honest, that's an honest answer. I mean, kids gotta come to school, we gotta find.
The money goes to your kid,
Right, right.
our pocket.
And so we've got to find ways to make that better. So the way this works is, and so I'll just kind of get into it right now. The way this works is, this is a monthly report, but the monthly report is not what gets earned. So in the PEAM system, they have what's called 6 weeks reporting period. There's 6 reporting periods, just like we used to, and that's why you had 6-week grading. So we still have to submit PEAMs at those 6 weeks intervals. And so whatever the average, whatever that number is for this 6 weeks, the next 6 weeks, so you add those 6 up, divide by 6, and that's basically how you get it. So one of the things that we're talking about is that we probably won't see the monthly report next year, because the monthly report doesn't tell us. It could be off either way, right? We need that 6-week number. So next year, this report's gonna be a 6 weeks report that lines up with PEAMS, so that we can track that.
That's good.
Right. So, because one of the things that happened today, and I'll just be quite honest with you, we've been trying to work on what we call the template, right, and update our numbers. And we used the PEAMS number and updated it, and when Moke and Casey ran the calculation, gave us a heart attack. Literally, and because you have, I mean, understanding PEAMS was hard, right? So what had happened is, we ran a report and we were asking for the first semester, the 3, and try to use that average. Well, what happened is December, the last 6 weeks was very bad, attendance-wise. Thanksgiving, Christmas, right, that whole time, this attendance was bad. And even though the PEAMS report said semester, the report said semester, it was only pulling that last one. Well, we were pretty good the first 2 reporting periods. And so it gave us a heart attack, because we were down $2 million. And we're like, no, this is not right. And so, anyway, we figured it out, and we know where we're at. But long story short, me asking the questions, the state doesn't tell us when the 6 weeks reporting periods are. We didn't know this, but we get to decide. And so one of the things that we'll do to make money up now is lay everything out and look at the days. And if we could, let's just say like for December, if we could back that 6 weeks reporting period and put 2 more weeks on it and get the number up, it helps that average and it'll bump our ADA up. And so one of our strategies is going to be to do that, and we've never done that. Last year I did it with instructional minutes. We talked about how we had extra time and we could move things around and do that, and it paid off for us last year because we were able to bump it up just a little bit. So we're going to do the same thing with this one and slide it around.
Does it matter that we're doing 9-week reporting? Doesn't matter, that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Apples and oranges.
Right.
Can we change it for this semester? The one
We can go, yeah. And so what happens is we keep these, but that ADA doesn't get turned into the final submission in the summer. And so we can go back and make corrections right now. So we could, even though.
Retroactive last semester and change?
So we're basically going to go all the way back to the beginning of school, lay it out, and we can move our 6 weeks reportings down. And so if I add 8 days there, add 3 more here, take it from there, and if it just bumps it a little bit, it helps.
Sure.
So, it's that law of averages or whatever you want to say.
So basically, you have a PIMS record for every day and you look at it from that perspective?
Correct. Yep.
Does it have to be consistent, a 6-week period once you start, or you just pick it anytime inside of that 6 weeks? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I don't think you use a certain amount of days.
Do what now?
Is it an actual 6 weeks period?
No.
So you just pick a day in there?
Inside of the 6 weeks?
Yeah. As an example, some schools only go to school 156 days. We go 173. Some schools go 156.
Yeah.
So it's that day thing, right? But then there's an instructional minutes thing too, right? You got all these little systems that work separate from one another.
And they allow that.
Yes, ma'am. And so that's one of the.
Feel comfortable with that, Julie?
How long have they allowed that, that we didn't know about it?
Portion, as much as Stephen has, I haven't done that, but I know that what we got today, that we were so stressed about, that the reports had not been updated and run properly in Skyward. And so I don't know that part that he's talking about. I don't know that part about PIMS. I know just general basic.
What do you mean reports weren't run or updated?
Well, when Lynn gave me the reports that I was given to Mopesi, I just took her reports and I sent them the first, second, and third 6 weeks, and I sent them the semester, those totaled. When they came back, they questioned to me, said, hey, your 3 6 weeks really doesn't correspond with what your semester is, and we ran it off your semester, which was 2518 ADA. So it was way down, like 100 kids. And so when we were talking with Chris and we were going through it, and Chris and I started looking at the 6 weeks and realizing that there's no way our ADA is 2518 based on what each 6 weeks were. And so I emailed Lynn, who is at a Skyward conference, a steering committee meeting. She got with the people there at Skyward, and they told her what to do to refresh and send us new reports. And so she did. I plugged in on Mo Casey's spreadsheet, I just plugged in a new ADA based on that to come up with the numbers you'll see in the financial reports to show how it affected us up to this point. But the reports have to be refreshed, and she had not refreshed them to include, like he said, it was just including that last part of.
I guess my concern on 104 students, so September 30th, I can't imagine you had 75 transfers or withdrawals, but that, a lot of those just didn't sign up, I'm guessing. And maybe the 29 since then may be more transfer type people. But, I know Sweeney's enrollment isn't as large as it used to be, but they haven't grown. When you look at us and you look at Columbia Lakes over the last 5 years, increasing 800 homes, and Barrack's increasing 400 homes or whatever it is Angleton's enrollment going? Theirs not going down.
No, they're going up, but they've got building on the
But
other side.
they're building out. I know Brasswood, ISD's is going down.
Brasswood's going down.
it's just hard to comprehend with, 1,200, 1,000 homes in the last 3 years that,
So,
kids.
When we were at school board convention, one of the sessions, it was at TAMS, when Lieutenant Governor Patrick was the one that brought it up. And so he keeps talking about the number of kids in public school. And basically he asked, where the hell are the kids? Because statewide, what was projected, I want to say it was like over 250,000 kids have just disappeared, right? Where are they at? And so, he had to answer the question, and because he has the metrics trying to track them. But, like when a kid checks out to homeschool, right? They tell us go to homeschool, can't do that. And they just disappear. Well, we
don't keep up with them.
Right, but that's hard to track, right? And so we have some scenarios where you can't track kids, right? And so they've kind of just disappeared, but that's kind of a statewide thing.
Think they'll show up if they get vouchers?
Well, yeah.
Start seeing faces?
Right.
They get money
But,
attached.
as far as that goes, we've had the discussions, and as far as long as I've been here, I don't think vouchers is going to hurt us. Our kids, certain kids already leave and go to Sweeney, already leave and go to Brazosport, already leave and go to Angleton. And we have a good number that come here too. Last I checked, our in number was bigger than our out number. So, that's a good thing. But we've just got to find ways to get kids daily attendance for right now. And, we can make a big mark because we have 3 6 weeks reporting periods to go. And we can go back and manage some of the other, we've got to, we don't have a choice, they've got to,
To figure out the problem, you gotta figure out where these like 104 going or what they're doing.
Right, well, the first deal is getting the ones that are here up first, get that up, but yes, bringing numbers in, always a good thing.
4, 5, 6 years ago, when you look at the ADA percentage number, basically 1% equals $400,000.
Say that again?
The percentage of attendance, when we looked at it several years ago, basically 1% equaled about $400,000. Because that percentage is taken by your average, your daily over here to come out with the WADA, the weighted average daily average. So if you can get the percentage of, if we can get that to 94, 95, then it offsets tremendously the amount of students you're losing. So when you have both of them going down, it's like a double whammy. And so.
When we first started out, in September, we were 93.
I was feeling good in September, I'll be honest with you. I told y'all, after the first 6 weeks, I was like, man, our number's high and our attendance is fabulous. We were up, feeling comfortable. We're in some things that are gonna start happening mode now.
So, West Columbia and Barrow, what are y'all doing?
You
Share with the rest of us. Will it work with big kids?
Probably.
Making phone calls. I bet y'all are too.
We did that last year and we still do that this year. But the whole, you just want them to come to school because of money. Well, I don't lie to them, you're right. We do want money. So I'm gonna make it worth your while we're here too. So we do a lot of fun things on Fridays. 95% attendance classes on Fridays. They party at 3 p.m. every Friday afternoon, whether it's free time, dodgeball, kickball, whatever that is. If they have perfect attendance, they have something. Today, we have 48 kids with perfect attendance still after 97 days of school. Every 9 weeks we do something for perfect attendance. We are rewarding, and it's not just at the end of the 9 weeks, it's weekly. So if you didn't get it this week, you can get it next week, and they love it. So we have TikTok. I know TikTok's not everybody's favorite, but we have a school Facebook, and kids get on the Facebook and say, I missed the bus, can somebody come pick me up? So me and Miss Glover get in the car and go pick them up. Whoever is available gets in the car and goes and gets them. So we pull out all of the stops. But It is an ongoing thing to reward them and make them want to be there.
So
That's the only way.
Let me ask you this, do you think it's also that parents are gonna send their kids, because they can't leave their kids at home? From the junior high and high school, they're tired of fighting with them, they're like, just stay home. You know, I think it might be an age deal as well.
When we pick those kids up that text to Facebook, they're at home alone.
Okay.
The parents don't care. At least ours.
Yeah.
I mean, not all of them. I never lie, but
Yeah, most of them don't have daycare set up anyway.
right. But the ones who do miss the bus, they want to come to school to get that reward on Friday, so they're doing what they can to message so somebody comes to get them before 10 o'clock to be counted present. Whereas if there wasn't any incentive at the end of the week, I'm gonna stay home and sleep.
Yeah.
So.
Impressive.
So behind that one, you have the enrollment numbers by class load counts. The left-hand column is West Columbia Elementary. The middle column is Wild Peach Elementary. And then to the right is Barrow, and then all the way to the right is 6th grade at West Bryce Junior High. You know, so those of you that were here back in 2011, moving from 2010 to 2011, remember it was my first year as superintendent. We had that drastic cuts we had to make. If you'll remember, like let's just say at West Columbia, look at the kinder numbers, right? Yeah. If you'll remember back then, the number was 23, 24. The numbers were 25, 26 in the middle, and sometimes as high as 30, 31 in 6th grade, 5th and 6th grade. Because that's what we had to do. But as you can see by the numbers, in every grade level, but 5th grade, you could cut a teacher. The number would be 23, 24, 25 for each teacher that remains. But that's what we had to do then, right? But, you know, across the board when it comes to that.
So West Brazos Junior High, like the first teacher, 17 is for first or second period class, and the others third.
They're kind of double. It's a double block type class.
But I mean, that's kids per class that she teaches.
Correct.
As it goes through the day.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And then the last thing we have for you, if you'll, I sent you some information about what's known as House Bill 1605, the Blue Bonnet curriculum, if you want to call it that. Just wanted to put that on you because at some given point here in the next couple of months, you're going to see that coming. So at the end of the day, that curriculum is, as of right now, when Barrow went into the grant 3 years ago, part of the grant was that we had to pick certain curriculums. And so what was known as Amplify in the reading language arts area and Eureka in the math area, those are the programs that are becoming Blue Bonnet. And so we do have experience with them. West Columbia has actually has some experience with them as well too. Do what?
Wild Peach has Eureka now as well.
Yeah, okay. So basically it's here, right? So when it comes to a budget standpoint and we have to use that instructional materials allotment. Yeah. Generally, one time a year, we'll bring it to you, and we'll bring you a list of all the vendors we're buying curriculum from. And basically, we have to guarantee and send that to the state. You take action and approve it. And it means that everything we're purchasing with instructional materials allotment money is teaching the Texas essential knowledge and skills. So, in the past is, why doesn't the state have a curriculum? Why, it's been a conversation. Why doesn't the state have a curriculum? Well, the state has a curriculum now. You would hope that in the future that this curriculum is going to teach what they test, right? Right? You hope, right? You hope that this would be aligned that way, and so we'll see. I can tell you when it comes to instructional materials allotment, when it comes to this curriculum, there's a price point. Again, there's not enough money in the structural. We couldn't go out and buy an algebra textbook for every kid that's taking algebra at Columbia High School in West Pratt. There's not enough money in that account to even to do that. But we could purchase this curriculum for those grade levels, basically all elementary, 6th grade, more or less. There are some financial incentives for you to do that. And so, at the end of the day, we got to have something that's our core base. You've seen a lot in the paper and in the news about things being taken out, the reading aspects, having Bible verses, things like that. So that's real. It is. Whether that's good or bad, we still believe that we've got to have a foundation curriculum. But again, if a teacher's doing something a little bit different, but it's working and the data shows it, that's okay, right? If you don't have the data to show it, then here's your curriculum, and that's kind of how that works. So anyway, just put it on the table. In the next couple of months, it's coming.
And Barrow, you use this, right, Barrow?
We use Amplify. We use Amplify.
But it came through, that's what Blue Bonnet's recommending or not?
I'm gonna choose my words very carefully. Amplify is what Blue Bonnet is going to mimic, yes.
Okay, that's what
supposedly. We haven't, yes.
So when C-Scope was out a long time ago, was that a state one or is that something we bought from somebody else?
C-Scope was the service centers across Texas.
Put that together.
A consortium and put it together. And then that was the same time that Common Core was out. And, it was like, nobody in Pennsylvania can tell us how to teach school in Texas. And then so nobody knows how to anti-C-Scope. If you could remember, it was at the Civic Center here in West Columbia, lady came down and there was a big meeting if y'all remember that, right? And but at the end of the day, it was a core curriculum. Guess what? This is C-Scope. It's what it is. It's more or less that, because C-Scope had exemplar lessons, worksheet. It was a boxed.
Set.
Yeah.
For everybody, same across the state.
Yeah.
I will say this, it is cross-curricular. And when we talk about our students in this community needing to use an imagination and writing stories about getting on airplanes and things like that, we don't have those life experiences to be able to use those to write about. So when we talk about taking STAR test and having to use key details and all of those things, we don't have those life experiences to be able to put into words to relate to the prompts, to write passages or constructed responses. So using cross-curricular materials and teaching what the War of 1812 or Greek mythology gives all of these students the same information to be able to communicate in class about and write about. And so the way in which students are able to have academic conversations, the way in which they're able to write now and respond to prompts. And we used to write one word or one sentence essays. Now we're writing like 3-page essays. And I think anybody who's looked at like work samples from Barrow can tell you the difference in the work product of the students who use this curriculum. So I will say
that's because of the curriculum you're using now?
Yes. When you have information that's being taught to you, and it's, whether it's science, they use real world experiences, whether it be social studies or science, things like that, to teach reading material, whether it be plot or whatever the case may be. They use those things to teach those. So whenever you don't have to have life experiences to be able to write and learn these things, you know about the War of 1812 because you just learned it with the rest of your class. Then you are able to have academic conversations with each other using the same information because we all just got it. So it gives you access to these things. So it has done tremendous things for students in ELER. So I will say that. So.
We've always had an issue in our district with life experiences with the people that we have here.
Oh, yeah.
With the new age of coming with VR and stuff like that, are there training methods that teach kids about life experiences through VR that would help our kids? I don't know, I'm just asking that because, everything I read now is VR this, and they do this, and you can see the Grand Canyon, you can see this, you know. And
Sure.
I don't know, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about a work product I saw in the hallway today, and it was Julius Caesar is a traitor. According to the text, like, you would never see these words in Barrow Elementary on a piece of paper prior, on all students' paper. But because they read about Julius Caesar and they know all of these things about him, they're able to quote this and respond to these prompts. So it is very good.
So that was something that was lacking in the former curriculum that we used to use?
Correct. When it says write about a time your family went to Disney World, you can't do
It's
that.
more about test design. You're hoping that the test will play off of what they're actually being taught in the lessons, rather than just somebody saying, describe your life experience, right?
I mean, if you don't have much of an experience, you can't write about it.
Yeah, right.
At least if you read about it, you can write about it.
But that's the biggest thing. Everybody just thinks that it's the test design. The whole biggest issue is the test design, right? When you look at a third grade test, and the Lexile reading is 7.8 to 8.1. It's true. Everybody will argue with you about it, but it's true. It makes it difficult, right? So, everything's reading, right? Math, even the math, it has word problems, multiple step problems, right? And so even the vocabulary comes into that. So, that's it. The biggest thing is the test design. Hopefully it'll get better. So with that's all I have for you, instructional report, unless you've got any other questions.
Back to safety and security for a second. How's our district doing with COVID? Is that even a
Don't even track it. We don't track it anymore.
We have more flu cases than that now, I guess?
Yes, but our flu numbers are still low. I have to submit our flu numbers to Missouri County every Wednesday. And our flu numbers so far have been pretty low.
Okay, good. Let me just pop them out, I'm sorry. Financial report.
There are two pieces of information. One of them, I'll start with just our monthly financials. Just want to point out that on the first page, you can see that we're at 50% through our budget year, and our expenses are at about 45.5% of what we budgeted. We already know our revenue's down a little bit, but which brings me to the second page I gave you, which was kind of like what your budget.
Where was the first page?
It was just your financials.
This page, not the one page.
No. You told me you were going to give me
Financial report.
I've got this,
Yes.
but I don't have that first.
This was attached to your board.
That's the extra stuff that's on there that shows, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's just your regular month.
Yeah, your monthly, okay, I'm with you now.
But this one is the one I want to talk about. We had Moat Casey redo our numbers based on our drop in ADA. When they did them, it was wrong, and so they sent me their spreadsheet. I plugged, we figured our ADA really was into it, and so it showed a decrease in revenue of about $774,000. which you'll see highlighted for state funds compared to what we actually budgeted. And then if you look on down under local funds and miscellaneous revenue, it increased about $833,000. That's our 313 agreements for what we had budgeted, only 308, but we know we're gonna get the 1.1. And then the final thing that I changed was down in SHARS. Instead of getting 575,000, we already know that it's more like 465. So I just took that amount out of federal revenue, plugged it into fund balance, because that'll come out of fund balance for the SHARS. And
SHARS fund balance.
yeah. And so on the second page, you'll see at the bottom of it that our deficit budget, it was at 1.142 and now it's at 1.088. So
It was what before? Regional?
1.142.
142.
1.148, 490.
1.148.
490, yes.
So even after all that, it's going down about $60,000,
A little
is
bit.
what you think? Okay. Well, it's not as bad as I thought, the way you were talking earlier.
Well, we did too, but when we actually got the correct, what we feel like is the correct 80, and that number's gonna change. So, your state funds are gonna go up and down, and we won't see it in this year's budget, you won't see it.
If we can do what you're talking
I'm just
about, that may change a little bit.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's just, we're gonna do things like, all the things we talked about before we approved the budget, like maintenance money, just basically making it hard to spend money in this district, right? That's what's about to happen, right? It's gonna get uncomfortable sometimes when people are used to just doing stuff. It's not gonna happen anymore, right? So we're gonna squeeze that. But the biggest thing is we're gonna have talks about getting enrollment up. Because you understand, if we did what you talked about a while ago, we erased that deficit out just by attendance. It's doable, okay? And, quite honestly, we need some people that can make it happen. Right? And so we're gonna have those conversations. What are you not doing? What can we do to make attendance better?
Yeah, we're not using the police officer anymore, right? Because they're at one of the campuses.
Right, because we don't have that position, right?
That was a COVID position.
Yeah. Funded through COVID funds.
You felt like there was value added in that position?
Quite honestly, it was so much that it really didn't improve the attendance, right?
Once parents find out there's no meat on the bone, there's nothing you can do to them, they don't care.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're having those discussions too. We call it Chapter 37 in the discipline code. If you haven't paid attention, a lot of things have happened, right? Like this year, the last legislative session, they changed, you can only put a kid in ISS for 3 days. We used to have 3, 5, 7, 10. Can't do that anymore. So, what do you do? If a kid is considered, let's call it homeless, you can't suspend a kid. He has to go to school or see, no matter what they do. Just saying, behind the scenes, schools have really been hamstrung. Truancy, you don't ever hear us talk about truancy, right? Because at the end of the day, we don't have anything to do, and everything that we would do would cost money for us to do, right? So, it's just, it's really difficult, right? And in today's world, like you said, sometimes this is just easier. It's tough. It's tough.
And then the last thing, you have a little packet in there about insurance.
Okay, before you go to there, I did you have a staple and it has Moki Casey on top of it. This is kind of an example of what Julie's talking about. This is kind of that template, but this was a template that was.
Do you have that?
That's,
Yeah.
This is what was sent to us, and I shared it with you. This was what was known as House Bill 1, so the last legislative session. If It did pass, right? Remember, it did pass, it got approved, and then the amendment pulled the vouchers out of this, right? This is what we would have got. Long story short, if you flip to the bottom of the second page and you go all the way down under summary data, it tells you, you come across, it says current law, and it has that 26.7 million, then it has House Bill 1, and then it shows your difference. Last school year, technically, that would have been the difference. Now, our numbers might have been a little different. It could have been a little more or a little less. But that would have been the additional funding we had last year. And then when you come across to the next column, that's this 24-25 school year, you can see that 3.37 million. That would have been the money we had. So you understand, if that amendment would have never happened and this bill flowed through, we wouldn't be having this conversation today because that would be the additional revenue that we would have in this district. Or if the governor wouldn't have, if don't have it, it's not coming. So I'm showing you this because this is basically what the Senate proposed and what the House proposed really aren't changing. Right? What's coming is going to be very similar to this. So.
Take it to this.
Yeah, we got to make it.
Similar to 23, 24, or similar?
Somewhere in there. Somewhere in there.
For the biennium, we would have been looking at for $4,200,000 increase in revenues over the 2-year period based off the last biennium.
Right. So.
Instead, Johnson got to approve his first deficit budget.
Yeah. Man, I just wanted to show you because just to help you out, Greg, if you look at the top, well, actually for everybody, you see on the left-hand column where it says students, okay, and then you see number 1 that says refined average daily attendance, ADA. That's the important number at the end of the day. What that is basically the total number of kids that we have enrolled versus the number of kids that come to school and get counted present on that day. So technically, it's your enrollment times your attendance rate, basically is what it is, okay? So that was called refined average daily. That's the important number. The program, the piece under this, regular program and ADA are just, now you're backing out just kids that are normal kids that have no, I'm just going to use a label or qualification. The next one you see special education FTEs. So now you're earning money. It tells you. Then under below that, career and technology FTEs, and then you get to your weighted average daily attendance. Those 3 numbers right there, 2, 3, and 4 are big. So why special ed kids? If a special ed kid is absent, especially if it's somebody with high services, we lose more money. And that's the odd thing, right? Our most frail, needy, when they don't come to school, that we lose money. Right. Our career in technology is the same thing. We earn extra money for that, but when they don't come to school, we also lose extra money. So there are some times, and so like you'll hear Jonathan say, hey, let's pay attention to the numbers. Well, those are the numbers because our enrollment can be down, but if our attendance is up a little bit, it helps us, it equals out. Or if we wind up having more special ed kids or more career and technology kids, especially in special ed by the services, you earn more money, the more structured the services are. And in career and technology, there's you're going to hear programs of study tonight, and if they're going through that, and if they get to those upper levels, they're earning quite a bit more money. And we got to do those things to help us out. And so part of what you're going to hear in the curriculum piece tonight is to get us on that path, and we've been on the path. But it's time for our kids to get in those, if you want to call them the workforce type situations.
So one good point I see before we move off is you budgeted $300,000 in interest earnings. And the feds aren't looking at cutting rates. We're at 219 now. we did 32,000 this month. Rate should hold fairly steady. If it does, we should be about 100,000 above on interest.
Yes, I do have that on my investment report.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that was your next thing, I'm sorry. Took your thunder right out.
I wasn't finished with this yet.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. The next packet is insurance. We have our auto liability coming up for renewal. It increased in a total of about 5%. Most of that was in our auto physical damage rates. I'm sure part of it has to do with accidents. But you can see that went up, but our auto liability went down a little bit. So it only went up right at $5,000. And then I also attached the next 2 pages.
Annual?
Annual, yeah, sorry, anyway. I also attached some renewal quotes we got from McGriff. The first page is where he is just giving us a quote, increasing our building and contents values at the very top line to 141 million over the 119 it was before we finished the gym part. That will, I'll just go ahead and say this too, that will also increase again when we open up the rest of it. And for that, I think we had to pay an additional $32,000 this year when we started in there.
When we took possession.
Yes. Anyway, so he started out giving us pretty much the same coverage with varying deductibles. Having a loss limit of $20 million across the board. So each of those renewal options, 1, 2, and 3, they're just differences in deductibles. So you can see the change in premium. If we went with exactly what we had last year, our premium would only go up about $6,000 from what we paid last year. But I also went back, if you turn the page to the very last page, and had him do options of increasing the coverage limit per occurrence from 20 million to 25 million to 30 million. Just so you would have those numbers, you could look at them and see the difference in premium if we kept the same deductibles, but we increased our coverage limit. Just so you would have some talking points. He'll be coming in February to actually present all of this, and any questions you have now or any scenarios that you would like for me to ask for you quotes on, we can do that now, and I can go back to him and he can give us additional quotes. I know this was it's a lot, but I just didn't want to give you 20 million since we just are having a $79 million new construction.
On your page 2, this one, renewal option 1, is that supposed to be the one that's on the page before it? Because that premium's on $844 and the one on the front is $849 for that?
No, I think it's renewal option 2. No.
Renewal option 2 on the first page is $832 and this one's $827.
No, I think it's different deductibles.
Yeah, it is. If you look at the boiler and machinery equipment breakdown, it's different.
The last page where we did the difference in increasing the premiums, he just put in a renewal option with a different deductible that he didn't show on page 2. So he actually gave you an extra quote.
Okay, all of them went to 100, but the boiler was from 50 to 10, okay.
So the only one that's the same really is your renewal option 2 on the first page and renewal option 3 on the last page. Or just the opposite. So you have really 1, 2, 3. You have five different quotes.
So, yeah, so we went to a 5% on option 1, on like outdoor property. But windstorm, we went down to a 5%. Yeah, it's crazy.
So on option one, the first one, on this page, like you're saying, he changed name storms from 7.5 to 5 and went from 10 to 5 on two. Do we know what that policy would be if we kept it at 7.5 and 10?
Well.
Well, it's, I think it's, if you look at option 3, that's pretty much what we have right now on that same page.
And basically, Jonathan, since we went from 119 to 141.
No, you're taking all over, you're going from 25 to 100 on that one, you're going boiler from 25 to 100 on that one.
Look at option 4 option 2, it's the same thing, so. No.
I think the reason he took it down to 5% is that's pretty much gonna be your same amount of money, because they went up to 141, so 5% of 141 versus 7.5. I mean, it's not the same, but.
I'm just saying, but if you're at the 7.5, you'd think that number would be lower, it'd be closer to what we're at today. It has to cost you more to have a 5% deductible versus 7.5.
Agreed.
Or 10. I'd like you to quote it the same as we have today, but with the 141 and see where that's at. Which option 4 on the second page is very close to that, except he took the boiler down from 25 down to 10 and went to 930, which makes no sense to me. Oh, but that's 30 up top, that's not 20. Yeah, so that one's not comfortable either.
Pretty much option 2 on the second page is, well, no, because you got the others, it's 100,000.
Yeah, it's 110. So if you get him to quote that just the same with that 7.5 and the 10, so we can compare apples to apples going up from 119 to 141.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't do that.
But basically, like, when you say 5%, that's 5% of the 141.
It's 5% of your total loss amount, the 20 million.
Capped at that.
Capped at that.
Capped at 20 million. But that 5%, oh, okay, that's outdoor property.
Because we're only insured for 20 million.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense to you, what I'm asking?
Yes, it does. Yeah, I have it down here.
Yeah. So there is talk about, let's call it risk management type allotments that you could qualify for depending on, if you're in West Texas, maybe it's drought. I mean, whatever it is, there's talk about some type of allotment that districts would qualify for. There was a meeting while we were in Austin. Representative Hunter out of the Corpus Christi area is kind of bringing this about to where it would help different types of varieties. Number one, just money to help with it. Number two, there is some talk about, I don't know all the verbiage, but at some given point, you buy insurance, but then the insurance company buys additional
reinsurance.
Whatever that is, but supposedly allowing the rainy day fund to back that up, which would now make it their cost cheaper for that extra insurance, which would hopefully be relayed down to us. Now, they're talking about doing that for everybody, like, I mean, even your home.
So like when we had the insurance meeting, or we had the committee, yes, the reinsurance is basically to cover their loss.
Right.
So they'll use Lloyd's of London or like the three biggest
And they're saying
carriers.
that is just driving, it's ridiculous, but if you could use the rainy day fund as, don't know if that'll happen or not.
Well, I mean, it'd be revenue to the state, if you buy their state insurance, it's backed by the rainy day fund. I mean,
Yeah, there's several different conversations going about trying to help.
When we were at a convention and I went into the insurance meeting with TDA, I told them what we were doing, walked up there and she said, 95% of all people, she goes, nobody can afford it. She goes, they have to do something to help you guys out. We were worried about hurricanes, but up north they're worried about storms and tornadoes now. Health used to not be a big thing in Texas, but it's huge now, the way it's damaging roofs and this, that, or whatever. And the whole thing, like I say, West Texas with fires, or north up there in the fires, it's just, the world's changed.
Yep.
I'm really surprised on the liability for the auto. With the wrecks of those, I guess the buses, some of those haven't shown up in the schedule, so next year may be a lot bigger increase this year. I say lock that one in as quick as you can. 5% is nothing in today's world.
When does this insurance policy expire?
March.
So we need to vote on it
next month.
He'll come next and present, and I'll get him to give a quote exactly what we have this year as well. Are y'all interested in any of the others, so we'll have it narrowed down?
I personally don't think there's enough difference in the prices to make it worth that. Do you, Jonathan?
I mean, to me, something on the first page, I guess.
I'll have him not quote the 25 million and the 30 million, to take that off.
Option 2 on the second page.
I mean, or have them do it apples to apples. Tell them, quote it just like what we have now with 20 million, 25, and 30. That to me makes more sense.
They did this to us last year too. Gave us random.
I mean, I don't see that we can add another $100,000 to our insurance right now on the cost of it.
I mean, the thing that weird is on the last page, option 2 is 141. It's 100,000 on the perils. 1, 7.5, 7.5, and 10 is basically the same price as option 3 on the first page, which is 1, 7.5, and 10, and 100 for the boiler, which kind of confuses me that, I mean, we're talking $100 difference, but you have a 10,000 versus 100,000 on boilers. They just don't seem to add up based off of when you compare it across the board like that.
But
Well, yeah, that one, yeah, also had 100,000 on all others.
Yeah, on all those, but it's 100 for boilers, but the second page is 10, and you got 1 7.5, 7.5, you got 1 7.5, and 10.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because the minimum is 100 on the 10,
Yep.
and it's 500 on that one. Okay.
And it only has a max of 300,000 on the annual limit, yeah.
And that's what, I mean, every other one is 500, and went up, except for that one is at 100.
Yeah, that'd be good, we have him explain it, because like the 500 minimum, like you have to have $500,000 worth of damage to qualify for that, so does it really matter if it's 7.5 or, I mean, it'd be tough for us to hit a $500,000 mark on other.
No, I agree.
Yeah, that's Name Lim's.
But we're going from 100 now to 500 on all of them except for that one proposal. He could just try to be more standardized in what he's doing.
I agree.
It seems like he's throwing darts at a wall and hoping something sticks more than making a logical presentation of what we should look at. Quarterly investment?
Well, probably said what I was gonna say, but anyway. So I did a comparison last year, where we were this time last year, and we're about 24% lower than we were last year. I do project an additional 100,000 than what we budgeted on the investment income. So just for general, we're at 206, 306, and then for our capital project accounts, we have 1,086,000 in investment.
But that just goes back into the account. That's something we don't get to use
Yeah,
for
we don't get to use.
him and
No, we don't.
Shucks.
I know, wouldn't that be nice?
Good deal. Bond 2022 report?
things are coming along really good. Again, the February board, we're gonna be doing a lot of good business in the February board meeting. Remember, Virgil will be giving a bond report. PBK and Drumala are actually working on some hard dates, so we should have a pretty good schedule, meaning they're gonna be able to tell us when they're gonna turn it over, when this will be completed, that kind of stuff. It kind of, to bring you to the end of the project is what I'm getting at. We're that close and we're that far along, and we'll be able to set those dates down, so be good.
And next month we'll do the tour, we'll invite everybody to that, is that right?
That's correct. So we'll do the same thing. We'll have the tour at 4:30. We'll have the culinary arts meal at 5:15, and then we'll do the board meeting at 6.
Good deal.
Thank you.
All right. We'll go into the action items. The first is to call the trustee election and matters pertaining thereto.
So we have our positions 3 and 4 coming up for election on May the 3rd. And so we're just wanting to call that election.
Yeah, that's a policy. So all they need to do is just approve it, right? Approve calling the election.
Just the resolution, right?
Yes.
I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution for the May election.
Second.
Second by Greg. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. One other thing on that election is we have to canvass by May 13th.
So May 13th is a Tuesday, so our suggestion would be.
Well, by May 16th, but
Yeah.
To move our move up to the 13th.
Move our meeting just 1 week earlier.
Yeah.
So May 13th. Does that seem okay?
Seems all right to me.
Okay, y'all just, if not, we just hold a quick special meeting or something, just need more people, whatever we need to do, and we could keep it.
There's nothing special to move the meeting, do we?
No.
You just take care of it.
Just when we announce it, so.
maybe we don't.
I'm just gonna go with, we're gonna change the calendar to May 13th, and if somebody has.
Yeah, everybody keep their fingers crossed that only you have 2 people to run, huh?
Saves a little money too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we put that on the Facebook page? District needs money, don't apply. Don't run.
Elections aren't cheap anymore.
No.
No.
Next is consider secondary academic program changes.
Mr. Miller.
So what you have is it's that time of year. We've already started registration process, or you heard Ms. Lacerio talk about having family meetings, registrations going on. I know the high school counselors are already down at the junior high working with kids, developing 4-year plans. But every January, we always bring you the secondary course offerings for the secondary level. So in your packets or in your, it was in board book, you have the high school, the board, course offering and the junior high. Any additions this year, as well as the CT programs of studies, because they're aligned, any new changes to the programs of studies equal additional classes added. Usually it's changes in names. But if you had any questions, Ms. Lacerio and Mr. Kinney here is here to go over any of those additions with you.
How many students does it take for a class to make?
It does kind of depend, but you have to make sure that you have a full section. And if it's only one full section, what else does that teacher teach?
What's a full section?
Depends on what you guys tell us.
So right now,
3 or 5.
this year, what did it take?
I don't think we had any close to not making it.
So you
I don't
got
know
what, a 10
I don't know
students, 12
what the
students?
number is in order to make a course like that.
The question is,
How many students?
what did a kid register for and you told him you can't take the class?
We didn't have anything.
Right, that's your answer. That's your answer.
Okay, I thought you were
that's
asking
not
what
my
number of
question.
kids to add a class to make sure we have a class. Okay, no, we didn't have to turn away any classes last year.
I know a long time ago, we talked about French or this or that, and we had like 2 people sign up, so we didn't make a class. So
Right,
I didn't
that's
know
my
if we looked at it, if we need, say, roughly 10, and then we would consider it or not, but.
And that's why I would say roughly 15 in the class would be a small class.
Okay, roughly 15, so basically.
But what we're looking at adding is all CPE courses. And so they're gonna have full loads.
And a lot of those are not necessarily classes that we offer on campus. They're offered through our dual credit agreement with Brazosport College, but they just so happen to fit in a program of study. So if a kid wants to choose to do manufacturing at college, he now has that opportunity.
It doesn't matter to us about it.
It doesn't matter to us because it's not a section. We're taking them over there and they're doing it there.
And that makes it completer of the program.
And it makes, right, so the majority of those classes that are on there, if you want, are not the majority of them. Some of them are, Mr. Cody will be teaching computer science. That's an interesting class. I'll bring that up because not only it's a CTE class, but now it'll also count as a foreign language. So for years, Mr. Champagne, you mentioned it, we got rid of French and German and went strictly Spanish, and we've been doing that now for 10 plus years. Now this is a foreign language option for kids that don't want to take Spanish. They can take computer science. You got to have 2 foreign languages to graduate, 2 consecutive foreign languages. So if they take computer science 1, computer science 2, and successful, they'll meet the foreign language requirement. So that's a CTE / academic benefit for our kids.
So we got the numbers in the classes for the elementary. What's your smallest class at the high school?
Or we can run a matrix and I can look at it. Probably our debate class, just off the top of my head, our debate class.
Which is what?
Roughly, do you think?
8 to 10 kids. She's running the report right now.
I'm working on it.
And that's low. So are there others similar to that? Or
We don't have any others.
do you think there's a big gap with the next one that's the smallest? Like double
The
that?
next smallest would probably be art. When you get into art 3 and 4, we combine them, same with Spanish 3 and 4, so we combine them so they're not small classes in those cases. Spanish 1 and 2 are full. We know those are full, and then 3 and 4 they don't fill up like that, but we're able to put them in the same class period.
And so those classes are like 20-ish or so?
Very rarely are we under 20.
So for planning purposes at the high school, it's 25 for academic class is what we shoot for, and usually 20 for science classes because you have the lab pieces.
Yeah.
So those classes tend to be smaller because of the lab. But that's the planning number that we use whenever we develop sections. Once kids enroll and we have a list of classes, we start determining whether classes are going to make or not, or determine. And sometimes it just so happens that you've got open sections and you've got room to fit that debate class of 8 in there. Because you don't want to take that debate 3 opportunity away from that senior kid that's been in the program, and so you clone it and you do debate 3 with debate 1 kids so that they can have those opportunities. That's how. At the high school, it's a little bit hard. It's not as simple as it is at the elementary. I got this many kids, because you're doing 8 classes a day and everybody has different requirements. You've got 870 kids that are on 4 different graduation plans. You've got dual credit to keep in mind, because now you've got seniors that could be pulling 3 conference periods and juniors, or 3 off periods and 2 off periods, 2 study halls, 1 study, I'm sorry, not study hall, dual credit classes. And so it affects the matrix differently. So the planning numbers on your lower level, your freshman, sophomore, are high. Once you get to that upper level class, it just depends on what the kid's doing. So that's why some of those numbers are lower than what you see in freshman, sophomore classes.
So like the debate class or whatever, is it possible for them to go to Brazosport and do that class?
Debate's not offered through the dual credit agreement. I don't think they have a debate program at Brazosport.
Well, speech, whatever else they might
We have
call it
speech,
at college,
They do have the opportunity to take speech and dual credit, but debate 1, you would, it's all about how it credits on the high school level as credit too. So debate 1, 2, and 3 follows a quote endorsement pathway in fine arts, but you gotta get through there. It's the same with art. Like art 1 and 2, you might have a lot of kids, but 3 and 4 you don't.
Right.
So you clone those classes and try to put the kids together, and those classes are smaller, but that's more one-on-one work because those kids are basically, they gotta get approval through the teacher to be in the program. They gotta show that they're committed, dedicated, they're doing the livestock shows the bigger type. So those classes are gonna be smaller by nature because they're more like lab classes. So
you're telling me.
welding classes aren't gonna be 25, they're gonna be probably
Well, I see
10
that. I mean,
to 12.
that's
Just,
equipment.
that's a safety issue.
Yeah, I see that. But so you're telling me that debate one would have 25 kids in it?
Maybe.
No.
Not necessarily.
So
But
for
we could
debate
debate
one
1, 2, and
class
3
to
clone
make,
it.
what would we want to have the number be?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
So if we're gonna create a debate one class, what would we want the number to be for that class to make? Because if you're always catering to the seniors, if you don't stop it at some point, you're paying a teacher to teach 5 or 8 kids, whatever the number is that you looked at. I mean,
For debate,
for debate.
there's 7 children in that class period currently.
And that's debate what? 1, 2, or 3?
1 and 2. We only have 1 class period for debate.
So it's already cloned.
Okay. So there's no 3.
There is a 3 on the books.
Yeah, there's currently no kids in a 3 right now.
Yeah, well, there's a lot on the books. That's why I was asking about class size.
And if they wanted a debate 3, they would clone into that class as well. They wouldn't be adding an extra class period for that kid.
Yeah, you try to figure out a way to make it happen for the kids that have been in the program. And debate falls in that fine arts thing that you have to offer at least 4 fine arts on the campus level.
So what else does a debate teacher teach?
Theater arts.
And those classes are bigger?
Not much. They're bigger.
Not much. If they're bigger, he's got a
Those
credit
numbers
recovery class. We utilize them in other ways throughout the day as well.
You said what kind of?
Credit recovery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he doesn't have, they find places for him if the classes are, or for that teacher if those classes are large.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions or comments? So we can make one motion to approve the program study and the junior high all together, or do we need to separate?
No, it's one.
Make a motion, we approve the secondary academic program changes as presented.
Second.
Second by Jackie, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Next is to approve the CBISD Board Policy Update 124. And those are all things that are set by, CBISD does our policy manual for us, so there's updates required by the state. They make whatever changes that's needed for that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Anybody have any questions or comments on that one? So do I need to read this motion for that?
Yes.
I move that the board add, revise, or delete local policies as offered by the CBISD Policy Service for consideration and according to the instruction sheet for CBISD Localized Policy Manual Update 124. Second by Ray, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Next, we have the consent agenda, which is to approve the minutes, to approve the budget amendments and donations, approve the member district partnership shared service agreement for the 24-25 innovative services for students with autism cycle 2 grant, and to approve a resolution for Texas Public School Week. Would anybody like any of those pulled?
I just have one quick, where do we see the construction budget? How do we find that? Yeah, like the budget.
Yeah, I have it. I'm gonna give it to you. It's in your phone.
Not this general thing. This is the whole thing? There's no numbers or there's no, like the codes we have on the regular budget, there's no setup like that at all? This is it.
We do purchase orders.
We have one, through our purchase order, we have one line item because the only time it's gonna be different is if we do other projects. It'll be one line item. If you wanna see like what we're paying out of construction, the check register, you can see it there, what we pay every month.
Where did you say?
The check register.
would you like?
Oh, in the check register,
Yeah,
okay,
it'll be, I think it's code 5995, I think.
okay.
Let me pull it
I
up.
was just curious, I mean,
And that'll show you
I
all
know
the
this is a
payments.
summary, there's gotta be more detail somewhere.
There is, I have that, I have that as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know if we were seeing that or not seeing that.
you see the check, you see everything we do,
Okay.
so,
I just
can
didn't
break
know
it
what
out
I'm
for you,
finding.
it's not a problem.
Okay,
Out of it.
okay.
And I'm assuming
I was
since
just
we
curious.
approved the guaranteed maximum contracts for phase 1, 2, and 3, that's the total we're doing, and you're just having stuff that matches up against that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm sure Virgil's following a budget in there as well, right? He's keeping.
That's what I would.
There's no doubt they're keeping the budget.
No.
I'm curious to see it. I'm not questioning that we're
No,
doing it.
I know,
I just was wondering, where is it? Do we ever?
Well, we did see it a while back.
Like he
didn't
has
we?
it broken
Right.
out, you would look at one line item and
Okay,
it's gonna say, I'm just gonna use, it's gonna say $79 million.
okay,
And then it's been broken out here based on these categories. And that's based on what Ramala presented to us. And then Stephen has broken it out, this category. But as far as the budget, we do it in total for,
okay,
like when you look in the audit and everything, when it happens, you're gonna see high school renovations, $79 million. Or
Okay.
whatever we end up spending, but it'll be a line item for that. It's not gonna be broken out for lights, computers,
Right.
anything. It's gonna be a line item for what that construction cost.
okay.
And that's how we keep it in the budget. We can break it out by PO, which is what this is in categories.
Okay. Thank you.
So by looking at that, the 108 and the 3,000, those are expenses and the other two are revenue? I'm looking, because they're tied in the same category. Is that what I'm looking at?
Which one are you looking at?
On, the PM's coding?
Oh, no, that budget amendment, that's if we change something to the budget. I found an error in the, in our budget amendment, I think it was in September. And so I was correcting that. And then the rest of them are just budget amendments. If someone, like if we get a new grant, we put it on the budget amendment. And if we, have to move something between functions, we have to put it on here. And I'll have to pull up what you're looking at, I don't have it pulled up.
You're just looking at budget amendments and donations?
Yeah.
It's got the change to payment 108, it's got Region 4 grant of 9.
Yes.
Covered deficit for SPED contracted service of 3, and then the insurance proceeds for the bus, 114.
Right.
And so now the bus insurance money we have in, so when we order, we talked about putting the bus on order, but once it gets the final bill, then we'll approve the difference of that and come back to us to approve that. Is that correct?
You won't have to approve it because it's bought through a buy board. So if it's bought through a buy board, then it doesn't have to come back to the board. We can.
But they want to see,
We want to see what we're actually paying for the bus. I mean, we talked about roughly 150.
Yes.
We just want to see that it's
Yes.
that and what the net is
Yes.
coming out of fund balance at that particular time.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments on the consent agenda? I'll make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second by James, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Anything else, Ruben? That's all that's listed, so we're going to adjourn to closed session to the pursuant to the Texas Government Code, the Open Meeting Act, Section 551.074, to the consider